As the 2020 U.S. presidential elections draw near, Trump is reviving the very playbook that got him elected. Accusations of deep state conspiracy and spying allegations against former President Barack Obama and attacking the mental capacity of his opponents. It might seem like a reenactment of 2016. Now, Trump is using his age-old tactics to distract the country, even as U.S. COVID-19 death toll inches closer to the grim milestone of 100,000. But before we tell you more, let's listen in to exactly what the U.S. president had to say.
But what am I doing? I'm fighting the deep state. I'm fighting the swamp. And I said I was doing it, and I'm exposing the swamp. I think if it keeps going the way I'm going, and Ratcliffe is fantastic, if it keeps going the way it's going, I have a chance to break the deep state.
That was the President of the United States saying that he is fighting the deep state. But what exactly is the deep state that Trump keeps talking about? Technically, the deep state are those parts of the establishment that wield extraordinary power outside the system. But for Trump, the deep state solely exists to see him out of power. The U.S. President and his supporters believe that U.S. intelligence agencies like the FBI and the CIA are part of this deep state. Now, many Trump voters even believe that the pandemic is a deep state conspiracy. This obsession with the deep state is not new for Donald Trump. The president has been floating this theory ever since Special Counsel Robert Mueller began his investigation into Russia's interference in the 2016 election. But that's not all. Trump even believes he is being spied upon.
They're spying on me. They're spied on me. And that's not being paranoid. That's being fact.
Trump has accused former President Barack Obama of spying on him. His new favorite term, Obamagate, coined by Trump himself, claims that the Obama administration used the FBI to frame Trump's first national security advisor, Michael Flynn, in the Russia investigation. Trump even went ahead to call it the biggest political crime in American history. But as Trump continues to rake up support for Obamagate in tweet storms, political experts believe that this is just a smokescreen to divert the country's attention from his mishandling of the pandemic. In recent weeks, Trump has blamed everyone for the pandemic, ranging from China to the WHO and now even the Obama administration. With just 5 months to go for the presidential elections, Trump is using the same tactics that got him to the White House in the first place.
Is traveling to Washington?
Hong Kong has once again become a battleground for the United States and China. Washington has threatened to impose sanctions on China if the new security laws are not withdrawn. China has warned other countries against interfering in Hong Kong, but the United States is pushing ahead with its diplomatic offensive. The Trump administration is likely to receive bipartisan support for any measures aimed at upholding Hong Kong's autonomy. On Sunday, National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien rallied the American public against China's new security laws. He asked Americans to keep an eye on the pro-democracy protests in the city. O'Brien expressed solidarity with the protesters and urged China to reconsider its move. That last statement from O'Brien is especially important. He says that Hong Kong will not remain the financial center of Asia if China goes ahead with this proposal. Now, this can be interpreted as a direct warning of economic sanctions on China and Hong Kong. Back in 2019, the U.S. Congress passed a law to protect Hong Kong's autonomy. The Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act was backed by Democrats and Republicans alike. The law requires the U.S. government to impose sanctions on Hong Kong and China if the city's autonomy is violated. The U.S. State Department is also supposed to conduct an annual review of the political situation in Hong Kong. This review will determine the future of diplomatic and commercial ties between the U.S. and China. NSA Robert O'Brien feels that under the current circumstances, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's review will not be favorable to China.
1992 Hong Kong Policy Act, the 2019 Hong Kong Human Rights and Democracy Act, both require the Secretary of State to certify that Hong Kong maintains a high degree of autonomy. And I don't think it's going to be, under the current circumstances, especially if the law is passed, it's hard to see how Secretary Pompeo could make that certification. If he fails to make that certification, there are consequences that come with it, sanctions and others.
Revoking Hong Kong's special status would be a big blow to the city. More than 1,300 American companies have established operations in Hong Kong. U.S. investment in Hong Kong stands at $82 billion, and bilateral trade accounts for nearly $67 billion annually. Currently, Hong Kong is treated as a separate entity from mainland China. But if the special status is revoked, it could be the end of luxuries like visa-free travel and low tariffs. Tensions between Washington and Beijing have also cast a shadow over the trade deal between the U.S. and China. Phase 1 of the deal has already been signed. China has vowed to uphold its obligations as part of the agreement, but further progress on this front appears unlikely.